Knecht Cup, like what makes it like a little different is we see a lot more crews at once than we usually do. A lot of our races through the season are usually with like 1 or 2 other crews, and a lot of the time it's like other lightweight crews. But at Knecht Cup we get to see like a lot of crews we don't usually see through our season, and we get to race like I think like almost like 18 other teams. And so it's really exciting to like see all these like other teams and just be able to race like some new competition.
Yeah, oftentimes our competitions are just 1 or 2 other crews at a time, and so Knecht Cup is 6 or 7 lane racing, so we get to race in one single race 5 other boats at the same time, which is super exciting. You get to kind of feed off all the energy from all the other crews, and gives you a chance to beat more people, which is always good.
And it's also a multi-day event compared to, like you said, most of the time we're just racing 1 or 2 other crews in one race. Or if there is like another race, then it's a completely separate race. Like our first race of the season, we had 2 races during the day, but they're against completely different people in unrelated races. When this had like a progression of heats, semis to qualify for the finals. So it's like a multi-day, multi-race progression instead of like unrelated, like 1 to 2 person boat races.
Yeah, so between our race over spring break and this race, we took the time to do a little bit of selection. So making sure that the 8 people who were in the Varsity 8 were the fastest combination that we could put together, which, you know, you're never sure that it's perfect, but we do the best that we can. And really just take the time to like click as a boat, get out in as many miles as possible. Yeah, just make the boat go fast.
I also like in rowing, especially like in 2Ks, your distance is so short, and so how you start your race really matters. And so we do a lot of practicing of like those like first few strokes and making sure, like as like Sam mentioned, like that we click on those starting strokes, because those do like make a huge difference in like how you start and how you like start off on the field from the very beginning.
So the heat, it was mainly a seeding for the semis. So our main goal for that was to race the first 1K, like kind of see where everything like stood, and then kind of take it down a little bit and make sure that we were in a good spot for our semi, and that we were in a good qualifying situation, and that if anyone like tried to make a move that we would respond, but mainly just ensuring that we were in a good spot and good seating for the semi. And then once we got to the semi in the afternoon, it was all about racing that semi to lay down a fast time to get a good lane for the final the next day.
I think it was a big confidence builder. Going into the weekend, it's always a little hard to judge like where you are on a crew. Like the weekend before, like we do lots of like paying attention to other crews' results over the season, but you know, it's always tough. Like as you look out today, like there's a big tailwind on the course today. Like times on this course would be a lot faster than if the wind was going the other way. And so it can be hard to tell like how fast a crew is going into the race. And so putting down a really good time on Saturday gave us some more confidence going into the final on Sunday that we could really like hang with the front of the pack, which was good to hear. Yeah, so it was definitely nice. We got to stay at the hotel longer than the other boats who had races earlier in the day. And I came to the course a little early so I could watch the previous races, which was nice. But yeah, definitely like taking the time to relax, get as much sleep as you can, put the legs up a little bit.
I think for the most part, the big thing was making sure that we started fast, and that we knew we'd be probably down off the first like couple strokes, because that's how it seemed to shake up most of the time. But make sure that once we like settled in, that we stayed moving on the field, at least like the as long as possible, and like that we were moving instead of just sitting with everyone, and that we really knew our base was where we were going to be able to shine during that race, because that's where in both the heats and the semis where we tended to make our moves on the cruise was during that like 500 or a bit before 500 in to like 1K in was where we started to get our lead on everyone.
Yeah, I think we just came really ready to race. And like during those moves, the whole boat committed to it, and there was like significant like speed drop and like significant like movement on the rest of the field. So I think that kind of like really helped us.
Around like a minute or so in, maybe like 500 in, which is like a minute and a half. We took our Alice called like a power 10, which is kind of just a signal for the boat to like all go together for 10 really hard strokes. And that's when we really started to like gain momentum against the other crews, and we were like a couple seats down on Drexel, who are the crew out in front. And we started to pull that back and pass them, and then put a little bit of distance into them, which we built on for the next like 1,000 meters of the race.
I think for me there's like a few moments. Okay, so I think like going into the third 500, like you could kind of tell that we were up on the field, and I think the third 500 is known to be like super challenging, but we were still moving. Our distance on the other boats was still growing, and so that was really exciting to like see. But like I think like actually like when we crossed the finish line, Sam sits right in front of me, so I was like, did we actually win? So I like I'm always like I'm a very I think I generally lead a pessimistic life, and so yeah, like I needed the confirmation when we crossed the finish line.
Yeah, I think like 100 meters or so to go, I like took a little look across and saw like the bow of the boat in second, and like felt a little better. You never really know. Like anything can happen. And at this race last year, we were in third until like 100 meters to go when we got passed, and we ended up getting fourth. Or maybe we were in second and we got passed, and came third, which sucked. So definitely like pull all the way through the line, but when I got that look at like 100 meters to go, it was definitely a good feeling.
Yeah, I think like 500 to go, we had like a large lead, but other crews are starting to make our moves. So that's where I didn't think I didn't feel like we'd won yet, but I knew it was our race to lose at that point. It was very, very motivating to make sure that like we had to hold on to that to through the line, that we did something wrong if we couldn't hold on to it at that point, since we had a very strong lead, that just making sure that every stroke is zoned in, and that as long as we worked together and really drove it to the line, that we would go through in the lead.